All around you, rain falls on the great city of Revachol. The spring thaw must be here. The snow is melting. Looking up at the sky, cold water dripping from your hair. Grey sky like your shirt sticks to your chest. The shoulders of your disco blazer grow heavy. The cold finds you're not dressed for this weather. You should get an overcoat or a patrol cloak.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. You should get a raincoat. There's a freight to the east. They sell them there.
Lorries stuck in the windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The back end of the cabin is a small perch to sleep. Large ash...
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy.
The driver has adorned his space with a substantial...
Likely, yes.
He was acting tough before. This probably scared him a bit. Who knows when it will come in handy. Slightly. A lorry stuck in the... An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island. An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island. Old monument stands, and even by the standards of the Philippian kings, his own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have, he called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe, not just any nose candy though. We're talking Royal Philippian Blow, allegedly twice as potent as the stuff you find nowadays. And purple. Philippian cocaine was purple. Beneath the cold waters of the Insel, a group of marble, the original, the statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinaise tend to disagree. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his the woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffiti. The dented yellow mailbox. There is a hollow ring as you kick the box. It sounds like it's mostly your toe has sunk.
Cool. You really showed that mail collection box. I don't. Let's go.
The worn and beaten.
You can revisit the...
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. The metal feels cold and wet under you. A thick, that's Kuno. Under the graffito, you know around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered.
Probably some kids.
striking woman.
Good afternoon. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. Quite a few things. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your...
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a...
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course, the situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. The Pines' core competency is logistics, container shipping, and that is the terminal.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brighton.
Why, thank you.
She nods.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. Why? By throwing off half a century of...
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the...
And how are the talks going?
They're not. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Let's say...
And when did you first...
I arrived 3 weeks ago.
But this...
I wasn't the...
This isn't...
Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes, Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. Mr. Clare told him to fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes, keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines, just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. I'm not sure. And now...
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one...
This checks out.
The scabs. If they were...
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later...
Everard Clare is a man of the... Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemable... Yes, it's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Daybard organized...
A mob.
Refreshed... And your opinion, detective? If I may ask. I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Daybarders Union is... Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with... I'm glad you asked.
Disappear?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Indeed. The point of...
Thank you for your concern, ma'am.
Of course. How else can I help? Why, yes I am. The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft. A 19 pacer. My sloop? I like it a lot.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not? I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as... It's for crossing long distances.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol. But, officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified...
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the qualified pleasure craft operator. So charming. Where's the damn license?
I just renewed its safety inspection last month, officers. It is completely seaworthy. In fact, it's taken part in not one, but 2 insulindic regattas. Even finished once.
Actually, you don't. It is a little-known fact among those who police that the Wayfarer Act specifically denies the RCM the authority to demand anyone's operator license.
About the boat? Good. This reality. No, but please, a little context. We're not in such a hurry. Ah, yes, the...
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I...
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late. For the big time.
The smile of a predator. No doubt what she's got in mind.
The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Why, of course. We're talking Duke out Central. No, I would say the apes were neutral. On the other hand, those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
This does not represent the official RCM opinion.
Don't worry. Klaus Mazov. Oh, lots of people. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes. King Guillaume had a note, him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time. The turn of the revolution. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease. From Revachol and why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control. Modernity.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s or the 30s? Things that no. Welcome.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are... Some were rich. They didn't...
We.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The coalition, the moralists, at least...
The rulers of Revachol. And also...
This is...
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
An almost endearingly moralist standpoint. They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I would have sided. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Good question. What would you have done differently?
A cold creeps up your spine, reaching its tendrils up your neck.
So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with the technology 50 years ago?
The wind stops, and for a moment...
Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme. When they failed to...
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RC.
And what is your official position?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable.
Έλα.
They are what they are. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Hello, hello. Ναι.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
Μιλάω ρε. Δεν ακούγομαι.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine. It's sharp.
Είναι στον κόσμο. Πρέπει να τους μιλήσω αγγλικά τώρα και... Δύσκολο κάτι. Το κατέβασε στο Χάντρε.
Yes. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a centrist at heart. A real moralist, no? Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening? A devil, who being of great charm and guiles...
Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in numb 12 perfume. You are suddenly and intimately aware of it.
I hope so. I hope we are... When the dust settled, the Liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect...
While a gentle wind sweeps,
I would not...
she realizes her small, cold fists are clipped.
Then for my daughters, we had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it. Yes. Whatever else I am,
Ακούς ρε.
I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? Of course, Detective.
Τι άλλαγες.
Yeah, you better keep walking.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
If anyone can help.
This coin-operated Why place a tourist attraction? Your money disappears into the coin slot. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the V. The lenses shift. The ghost, it looks as if it was abandoned.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
This coin-operated viewer is facing...
I'll die before I squeal.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Για τον κόσμο.
Raised descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have... Your race descent has only worsened since I last saw you. You have really let yourself go.
Just like that, instinct, the man is reeling. All you hear is a small gurgling sound as a trickle of blood appears on. The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken down puppet of muscles and sinew. For a moment, he still tries to keep his head up, dazed eyes looking at you with unimaginable surprise. To your left is the button. As you slam your fist on the button, the man collapses entirely, his head rolling to the side.
Looks like you're the new measurehead now.
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go before he gets up.
The man is... The man is still knocked out. The tarpaulin cloak. As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the... This is the night watch. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to...
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean. It's a black and white photo.
Why did you take that picture of René? Fine. But let's move. I don't want to be...
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through you. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap painkillers. They are... Oh boy. Where to start? Elevated risk of dementia. Maybe this was a bad idea. You stand and exit the booth. control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons, marsh, on, arrête, off. A rusting marsh. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. The rusty control...
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was...
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
You do? There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because we are not here to interact with containers.
You attempt to turn to your left. The lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi. From the vanishing...
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I'm... Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, people say us...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them.
Told you.
Oh, you want Mr. Everard then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighbourhood. Guys like Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everard is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
Have a good day, Mr. Dubois. Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you are a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's via...
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Don't mention it. But also, don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hat.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
I know everything. It's not like...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep...
Officer, we will deal with this later.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children...
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a gun?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some...
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to... I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information.
Yes, that sounds good.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea.
Container.
The lyrics to the accent.
Container, container, ever. I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs. I mean, just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the... Oh, yes, people say...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, you want guys like Mr. Oh, Mr. Evra is very... Bye-bye now.
Before you, with great effort, he straightens himself.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. I'm Everard Clare. I'd offer you my...
He looks extreme.
You go ahead.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois. Let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me at eye level. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume...
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the...
Oh, by the way, this should take care... It should be sufficient...
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Don't mention it. But also don't forget... Now.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is the world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem... It's not like you...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. You want to cry? God, you're...
Mr. Dubois, you don't...
Before you is, with great effort, he straight...
Welcome, Miss... I'd offer you my...
He looks...
You go ahead.
Whatever, forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff?
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're reasonable... So tell me...
The chair you're sitting...
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather... It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or... Don't mention it. But also don't forget it. Now.
His slug-like lips move, but the world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only...
Are you all right, Harry? It's not like you...
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always... God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so...
What is this, Mr. Dubois?
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois!
Maybe you could use your hands somehow. In a kind of throw-in motion? Like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act.
Don't be dramatic. I can see your condition isn't terminal.
What an odd demonstration of...
Okay, enough.
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together and ask him questions. Police officer questions.
Oh, Oh, of course. I mean, it's no secret that but there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night.
Yes, that's
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines. Incredibly talented at opening doors.
I'm not sure I understand. If you're asking us to break down someone's door...
Come now. I just need you to go open a little door for me and leave it unlocked.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got another thing coming. Play his game, son, with your eyes peeled. He's going to slip up, and when he does, you're going to come out on top.
Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, I'm a very busy man.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working...
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally Harry, my dear friend. I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic! You can get the key from... Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. Yes, your gun...
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
He is not.
Of course. I understand. We help you, you help us.
Am I going to ask? Hell, Harry. You spin-kicked my strongest man in the face. I saw it from my window. Would you ask a man like that how he got into your container yard? Don't worry, Harry. Between you and me, I'm not a huge fan of his race. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Oh, that's very nice. One thing I want to... We're all trying to do what's best for Martinez. Don't feel like you can't cooperate with her because you and I are such good friends and I'm helping you find your lost gun. I'm not a jealous guy. Vanished? Oh, did I...
Wait, there was no mention of a casserole from Joyce.
Harry, Harry, Harry. Do not fixate on this little matter. Maybe it was a rabbit stew, or a hairdryer, or an iron. What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go. He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his... Harry! I have little people in my organization. Honestly...
It's hard to say if he really lost his temper, or if this is another one of his tricks. This man...
If she actually wants to see me, of course, I have no... Tell her about...
It is... This is weird. Not nice weird, but okay.
Of course, my...
I think the odds of that are very low.
I assure you, there's nothing to be ashamed of, Harry. You're among friends, and the good news is... I have a big fat...
Don't...
I'm sure you...
Are you trying to...
Mr. Kitts...
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first. As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. Is he trying to hide?
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau.
He got the name from the Census Bureau.
Yes, yes, Mr.
That means he doesn't really know anything about you. A pity.
Yes, That's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my... Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder.
Sure is.
I had to break this bonding moment, but the red containers mean they are replacing the
Oh, I'm just making... Sure, mister. About what?
Marsh. The crane stands tall, proud, erect, and with a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the rust.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers.
Before you stands a cargo container. In control, the crane does not return to its original screech of metal when you push the button this time. Only silence as the crane. This is the night watchman's booth.
not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. True, I said nothing about our personal dynamic. That has altered a little.
So, how'd you like our harbor? It's but a rested right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plane. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed...
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal breeze ruffled.
A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. Oh, so the none of the above type are you? I get it, I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the whirling in rags. That's all I know.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are. We're negotiating. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. Never grateful. Were we ever grateful, we'd have nothing. You fight for every piece.
The man whispers a jaunty tune. A coastal... A lorry stuck. iron safety curtain. This is directly above. Not an odd thing to do. Still, not. Those curtains prove to be.
There must be another way to wake.
As before, an iron safety curtain curves before your eyes. This is direct. Two cables are an electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. This orange machine is buzzing like an old. You slip if you want.
Equip the pry bar by going to the Tools tab in your inventory.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand crank. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing. A few bricks have fallen off. The bear's eyes. As before, this is directly above the central foot.
Να πάρω... να μπω... Πες, ναι ρε. Δεν σε βλέπω κιόλας μέσα.
Πού δεν με βλέπετε? Καλησπέρα.
Έλα ρε.
Τι κάνετε?
Τι έγινε?
Τι ώρα πετάει εδώ?
Δεν σ' αρέσει καθόλου, Σου έλεγα πάμε για χάντ, σου λέω.
Κάτσε. Δεν ακούγεσαι, πήγες πολύ χαμηλά.
Α, το χαμηλό, ναι.